Swivl Sessions, interviews with field service entrepreneurs. Get insights and strategies from those who took the leap and risked it all to start their own home service companies. A lot of times, the stories on these podcasts that inspire us come from a business perspective. And rarely do we get a podcast like the one we just have where the inspirational stories we hear are from the family side of things. And that's what we had with this last podcast. Jeff and Francesca Conklin with Reflections, Window, and Gutter Cleaning. Rob, what do you got?
So inspirational is exactly the way I would put it as well. What a great show. These husband and wife really have kind of, they started off with nothing more than a bucket load of optimism, and they made it happen. And that's the beauty of it. Even though they were fearful of where they were going, they made it happen. So I think my favorite parts were when Jeff was talking about what advice he would give to those who were just starting out, and it is fantastic. And the other thing is I loved how they kind of cracked the code on who to hire and how to hire them. Pride. It's all about pride. And that makes perfect sense. I loved it.
It's funny to hear where the beginnings happened, and this was a beginning of no truck. They had to rent a van and borrow $200 from Jeff's mother. $300, right? And that's where businesses start. And for future entrepreneurs that are just standing on that ledge, to hear that beginning to $1 million company, guys, it's sometimes you just have to take that leap. And they had a great point too on being more afraid not to try. That played into getting this business going. And inspirational podcast all around. Jeff and Francesca Conklin with Reflections, Window, and Gutter Cleaning. Enjoy the show.
Enjoy it. Welcome to Swivl Sessions, where we dive into the world of field service entrepreneurship. Now, before we get into today's interview, let's introduce the host you'll be hearing from. So first, we've got John Tyson. So Tyson's Elite Trivia Squad tanked the geography round on Tuesday. Turns out his biggest map failure was not finding anyone willing to join him. Tyson, kind of lame.
Man, listen, that's a zinger, all right? I was going to keep it light. Okay, well, hey, guys, meet Rob, the brains behind Swivl, someone I've literally grown up with. And if I could just change one thing, even though I'll follow him anywhere, he comes into my office with major important Swivl news. And while he's telling me, he always finds his way to the edge of the door and starts scratching his back while he's telling me important Swivl information. Whoa. So it's what we love about him. Meet Rob.
That's just it's my level of comfort with you. But all right, so today we were excited to introduce Jeff and Francesca Conklin, owners of Reflections, Window, and Gutter Cleaning, a very professional and quality window cleaning business based in beautiful Portland, Oregon. So Jeff and Francesca, welcome to Swivl Sessions. It's great to have you here. How are things way over there in Portland?
Things are good. Thank you for having us. We're in the 80s and 90s right now, so we try to get to our work early and try to get out of work.
Okay, so the background question we love kind of leading into the entrepreneur talk with our guests. Just wondering, what's both of your backgrounds and how did you guys find your way to Reflections?
My background is, like we talked before a little bit, everyone goes to high school. I joined the Marines and I went to the East Coast. After the Marines, I went to Indiana. My dad lives there, so I went to Southern Indiana, Screaming Eagles. And then came back home to Portland, Oregon, and my mom's based here. And then I went to work for my sister's company, which was window washing. And the brother-in-law, he owned the company at the time. He no longer does, but he taught me everything about window washing. So I had that in my back pocket as far as a trade. And then I went to corporate America, met Francesca.
Yeah, we were doing software sales.
And then we were doing really good for 8.5 years and, brought the company record $1 million profits. And then they changed our comp plan. So then I realized I was a number. And I said 2 weeks notice, and then I fell back on my trade.
We somewhere in all of that, we spawned Reflections as a way to have family life and flexibility. Something Jeff didn't mention is in 2011, we had a baby boy who only lived for 3 weeks. So it was really sad. And that's always a big chapter. We don't want to focus on it. in terms of sorrow, but in terms of growth and how do we overcome. And so that happened, and we knew we wanted to be parents. And so we were gifted another chance at parenthood. And in 2014, we welcomed our daughter, Tavia. And what I'd say is we worked in corporate America. We have this beautiful little girl now, and we know how important that time with her is. And we didn't want to miss, either of us didn't want to miss
for you.
moment.
Not a second.
Good for
So
kudos. Great for you.
Yeah. So reflections came from that as a way to have flexibility and be the parents we wanted to be after the crisis of 2011 that we experienced.
Might be the best reason we've ever heard on this, on the
Well, it really helps. Like, everyone has bad days, right? We all have had a bad day on some level. So when you have that really bad day, we can look at each other and rally behind the fact that we've had the worst day, right? When your baby dies in your arms, there's nothing worse than that.
Yeah.
So we can overcome anything.
Everything's easy. Yeah.
There's nothing on this planet that you can send our way.
If you can, like you said, bad things happen, but if you can take meaning out of that and then help it define your life in a positive way, that gives that little baby just that much more gravitas in your life and your lives together and your family now. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna cry.
But while there was a lot of tears, you know, it took us a couple years, you know, went through doctor's appointments and come to find out she had a bad thyroid. So you can take a thyroid pill with the pregnancy.
Okay, let's not go into my health history.
We're not gonna. We can edit.
And so now our daughter is 11. And I got to say, you guys, we are so proud and excited to let you know that over the last weekend, she was in a softball tournament and her team won the whole tournament.
Nice.
And we were there. We didn't have to worry about missing work or taking PTO hours, we were there and relaxed and felt the freedom to enjoy that tournament with.
All right. The baseball player wants to know, what position does she play?
Pitcher and first base.
So she's got a cannon.
She does.
Nice.
Yes.
We're proud. We're proud.
That's
parents.
awesome. Tell her congrats for us.
In the right direction.
Nice.
Tyson was a second baseman that I used to try to mow over when we played against each other.
We went to rival high schools, and it was the best part though was I would be standing there and he would be on first base, and I wouldn't want to look over because I knew he would have this grin like, I'm coming, get ready.
I would steal no matter what, first pitch. Anyway, that moment when you guys, there's a lot of fear and risk when you make this jump, right?
Yeah.
So tell me about like what it was like to just make that final decision. So everyone thinks about doing it, but actually doing it is something else. What was it like for you? How did you overcome your fears, obstacles?
Definitely fear there. But when you go to work, I left that corporate job. I went and started our company. But it was definitely Francesca. She said, we have nothing to lose. We've had our worst day, right? We've covered that. You know the field. I know the office. Let's just go for it. You know, we started getting notices on our mortgage.
I think when something makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Right. So I had a lot of admin, office, sales experience, and I knew he had this trade, and it just made sense to me. If you put those two together.
Yeah, absolutely.
How does this not work?
Yeah.
How does it not work? And so, although yes, it was fear, there was fear. I guess that's what I'm saying is, I think I would have been more afraid not to try. I would rather have tried and failed than
or to wonder. Always, if you.
Yeah. And so, but we didn't fail because here we are, and it was everything our brains. And I will say, Jeff probably carried more of the fear, and I carried more of the empowerment of there's no failing. We're too good. We're too good at what each individual.
Too simpatico. I love that.
It makes sense. Yeah. So we just did it.
And we did it in October of 2019, right? So COVID happens in February, March of 2020. Yeah. Everyone, you can't go to work. You got to go home. So everyone stared out their dirty windows. And I was one of those cleaning companies that I was allowed to go out initially. And so it just snowballed.
Yeah. We grew at a rate that was unexpected for us, and we attribute that to COVID. And we never want to be dismissive of what COVID did for families and took lives. But for us, it was the greatest gift ever.
And it's come up many, many times in our podcast too, with the decision.
Yes, exactly.
So the next piece I like to ask about, and I think it's kind of interesting, is I think I may have already know the answer to this. Expectations, right? So before you say, let's do this, honey, you have expectations of what it's going to look like on the other side. And oftentimes those expectations are not realistic. So tell me about the expectations that you had versus the reality of what you saw.
Yeah.
I think I'll let you.
Are you sure?
I think
Well,
so.
I think I kind of want to hear what your expectation may have been. I know what I'd like to say, but go ahead.
Well, I knew we were going to be successful, but there's a ramp up, right? You got to get the clientele. So that's that's probably my biggest fear was didn't have a database, right? Didn't have the customers.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
So my expectation, I'm not
was going to be hard.
That was the hardest.
Yeah.
The hardest
I would
part.
have to agree. Worry and expectation of we can do this. Where are the customers going to come from? And the expectation switching to it'll be easy to find employees. The hard part will be finding the customers and finding how grossly wrong we were. The employees are the hard part, and the customers that's the easy part.
And making the
yeah.
Yes, exactly. I will say because we were one of those cleaning companies that was out there, we were the ones. So there was probably like 5 to 10 window washing companies in Portland. And I think at that time we were the only ones answering our phone. Everyone else just shut it down. That helped.
It's staggering how many people in field service don't answer their phone.
Right.
at all.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then question why their business isn't growing. So, and that is exactly right.
Exactly.
Well, when you get into getting past those hurdles, I was just curious, once you establish the business, is there some area that you struggle with still from the beginning to this, even though you're getting to be a little bit more and more successful? Is there a part of it that you haven't quite figured out that is a pain point?
Can I call them unforeseen hurdles? Things that you didn't foresee that maybe you're still having trouble, or overcoming?
Honestly, it's just employees for me.
Good employees.
Good employees.
Yeah.
I had a crew from the COVID area. I would say that I have 2 left from there and a few are gone. So I've transitioned over to post-COVID employees.
It's hard to get people to care about your company the way you do.
And they're not going to, right?
Impossible.
We all love our company the most, and we hope that we find someone that cares enough.
Yeah. I think that is the biggest obstacle. We do have a really, really good crew now because what I've kind of started looking for is who cares about their own work ethic? Who cares that the job was done well because they feel good about it? They take pride in it. So I've been looking more for that versus care about the company like we do. Because like you said, that's impossible. And then I look at the pay rate for what Oregon pays, and I try to pay above that because I don't want to have high turnover. When our customers are using us once or twice a year, I want them to see the same employees if possible. So they feel comfortable with who's entering their home. I try not to just look at this as a service business model, but also there's a psychological component to it. And there's a connection component to it.
I think that's interesting. The fact that you're looking for the common thread, which isn't like love of my business, but it's you have pride in your business and you want people who have pride in themselves. And that common thread is pride. And I have not heard that. What we have heard millions of times is the hardest thing about these businesses are people. But I haven't heard that solution yet. And I'm now a big fan of it. So
good. Thank you.
Tell me more about your customer base. So are we talking commercial, residential? What mix?
We probably have, it's probably 80, somewhere around 80% residential and 20% commercial.
All right. Is that something that you're trying to keep the same ratio, or are you trying to get more of the commercial and the general?
I wouldn't mind more of commercial just because it helps out usually in the wintertime. So we do windows mainly in the summer. We do a lot of gutters in the winter. We do pressure washing in the winter, but more commercial jobs would help, I think.
Why gutters? And was that a step in you're expanding your services then? Or did you start off with windows, gutters, pressure washing?
Great question. The old company that my sister's company, brother-in-law, they had window, gutter, and cleaning services. So that company did kind of a variety. Yeah. And when I wanted to start this company, I knew how to do windows really well, and I knew how to do gutters really well. In the wintertime, not a lot of people are going to do window washing. So I had to have something seasonal. So that way it was a year-round.
But I also think it's important to remember that we're in Oregon, where it rains a lot and there's a lot of trees, and those gutters get clogged a lot.
Yeah, so it's pretty big business.
Mm-hmm.
Big business.
Yeah. We have the
a lot
same
of moss, so we do roof cleaning as well.
Yes, we do moss control. moss treatments.
What is that about?
So I wish I should have taken a picture of the back of my truck. I'll send it in to you guys. But essentially, you go and you brush off the large chunks on the roof. Then you spray chunks, but
That's
like the bigger chunks that are like that. If they're really tiny,
Yeah.
the treatment will take care of it and just basically disintegrate it by eating it. It's essentially salt, right? And it just eats up the moss. But homes over here, there's a lot of moss. So
Every
Wouldn't that hurt the other plants that you're spraying down on the roof? I guess it's going to the gutters and then collecting and spewing out somewhere, but
great question. So as some of that may overspray onto the ground, I have a guy on the ground with a hose that's just rinsing everything down.
Nice.
So that
Leaving
way
it.
it doesn't hurt the
Love it.
plants.
Learn
So-
something new every podcast. I love it.
And I just
Yeah.
want to be clear, when Jeff says he does windows and gutters, it's cleaning, right? So sometimes people think window replacement or gutter replacement. That is not
Yeah.
our field. We are truly a cleaning company.
But we do have referrals now. We have
Absolutely.
solid companies
Yep.
that can go out.
And
to
you've got
care.
some great reviews too. I read a few of them. Yeah.
I
So
hope so.
Thank you.
nice work there.
I just really pride. I pride myself of going out each and every day and trying to do the best job that I can. And I try to rub off on my employees to do the same thing. And I kind of lead, right? I go out there and I just go get it. I'm like, I want you guys to follow me. I'll pull up to a house. Here's the game plan. Let's go get it. So
And if they see you making that connection with a customer, that kind of rubs off on the employees.
how do you do your estimating when you see a job?
for myself, I've been doing this collectively over 30 years that I can look at a house and the price will just pop into the head. But, there's factors like, is the roof steep? Are they on flat land? Are they on a cliff? How many windows are there? How long will this job take me and my crew to do? So I kind of factor all that together and then I'll just spit out a number in my head.
And that's tough for people to understand. I'll get a lot of emails. I have a house that has 14 windows and 2 sliders. How much would that be? But I don't know if it's on rocky ground. I don't know if one side is a drop off.
Yeah.
All of that is going to factor into how long it takes us to clean a window or clean gutters or the safety measures that have to be put into place. And so that's where Jeff, really, I say it comes down to time. How long is it going to take Jeff and crew to complete this job? We pay them, the company makes money, and the customer still feels like they got a good deal. Whatever that magic number is all in Jeff's head. And that makes this a little bit complicated.
And I can be, and efficient, right? So I don't have to physically go out to each property and bid. I can look it up through Google Earth, realtor sites, and if I don't have enough, I'll request photos from the customer. And I'd say 9 out of 10 times they'll do that. There are some customers that want to see my face. So I'll go make that drive.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's so when the job is all said and done, do you take do you look at what it costs you for each job? Do you allocate your labor costs and I guess equipment and so you can walk away saying this is our basic margin? Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, that's good. Is of how people get their estimates done. And, I always did it some specific way, but go ahead.
So in doing the estimates, we love hearing, about technology and field service. Do you use any type of technology when you're doing that estimate, or is it just numbers scribbled on a pad, or is there a platform that you use?
Over in my office.
I think, a lot of it is his mental work and using those online sites to visually see the home and the landscape.
Right.
But when it comes to specifically the roof treatments and the roof cleaning, he will use Google Earth, and there's the parameters you can use on that to get the square footage of just the roof.
Yeah. Right.
And so that's been really helpful because on that one, we do charge an amount per square foot of the roof.
That's more for like our moss treatments or our gutters.
So you can go to Google Earth and get a square footage
Of the dimensions of the roof, correct.
Yes.
I know you can do it with like a yard. So I guess you do the click, 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 click.
And then convert. Yeah. Luckily, we homeschooled our daughter. And so those conversions were happening in the level of math she was doing. So we were able to read.
But still, you're not able to calculate, I guess, if there's all kinds of like peaks and whatever. Right.
And that's what we can visually see. You can visually see that from. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. So
What
yeah,
about like account information, or do you keep track of that? Yeah, a CRM type of
minutes, scheduling, dispatching.
Yeah. So what we're using in terms of how to run the business is QuickBooks. And so that's how we send out and receive approval on our estimates and have all of our customers' information and notes in there. And then you have those customers that say, I'm not ready to schedule yet, but can you call me in XYZ? And
Yep.
it's a significant amount of months where I'm not going to remember to do that. But I would say QuickBooks is the majority of what I'm using, and our Gmail account, the emails and the website funneling in those requests.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty common.
And then there's Swivl.
Which
Not
we're
yet. We'll
all
talk
about
about
We're
right
that.
diving into.
Yeah.
We'll definitely get into that after this.
But yeah, that's how a lot of companies definitely start. That's how I started. I was using QuickBooks for pretty much everything, and then a hodgepodge of things to get it done. What about, all right, so tell me about the Reflections goals and what are we going to look like in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years?
In 1 year, I would like to have the same employees.
That's a fair ask. That's a fair ask.
In 5 years, we currently have 2 trucks that run. So I can have everyone on one route, or I can divide it up into 2 different routes. Sometimes I'll go moss treatment gutter, and others will be on the windows. So I'd like to have, maybe 3, 4 trucks, a few more employees. I get scared of getting too big, too fast, because then you lose quality, right? And
Yes.
quality is a big thing for me. Attention to detail. I go over that all the time with my employees. So I'd like to grow, but I don't want to grow too fast where I lose what we're all about.
We're in a catch-22 right now where we grew the business grassroots, and so they're familiar with Jeff. I want Jeff out here, and my goal is to get Jeff out of the field and in the office with me. And so we need to get a lot of face recognition with who we would consider our lead, and that they start to trust him and kind of get Jeff a little bit out. So that's where we're at right now.
Because I am a little bit older. So when I go to work, I could feel it after the week for sure.
And I want this to continue to carry on once he hits a point where he's not climbing ladders anymore. So that's what we're working on right now. And that's sort of the goals is how do we keep this crew? Because this crew, you guys, is phenomenal. We have a phenomenal crew right now. And I want to keep them happy, and keep them growing to where they're running a route. It's not Jeff. They're not depending on Jeff to calculate numbers in his head, that they can do that. That's what I want for this company.
We're giving them some autonomy.
A lot of that autonomy, then again, once they have more autonomy, they take more pride in it.
Which is difficult. It's hard to let go of the reins sometimes when they're representing you.
Training builds trust, and with trust, you can build that pride, right? And then I think that's kind of the it takes time to do all that, and everyone kind of wants someone to walk in and say, you can trust me and believe it, and you don't need to train me because I already know it, and that's impossible. But yeah, I mean, training is tough, and getting those people. But I think you're right, and if they can believe that their area is their business, that's a good way to run it, and that's a good way to empower them so that they are vested in it. Keeping the similar procedures going through is partly what a software would do. I mean, if an estimating software is something where you could put into a procedure, this is how you do it. Boom, 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 boom. I think would be great. Can I ask what the revenues are, say last year, and what you expect this year?
I know that I'd have to go back and look. So these are just rough guesses, but I know that the first year, I think we were 70, 80,000. We were under 100,000 the first year. The second year, I think we jumped to over 200,000. And I don't think we've been under 250,000 since. So we are a legitimate $1 million company.
That's great.
So I did it, Mom, Dad, right?
Yeah, you did it. Congrats.
We're probably just, gross. We're probably at $1.5 million in 5 years.
And that's organic. That's just organic customers. Organic customers doing that.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Thank you.
That's great.
All right, so we're going to double it in 5 years, and then what does it look like in the end? You turn it over to, we say Talia?
Tavia?
Tavia.
I would like
the exit plan?
her to wash windows here pretty soon, so that way she has a trade herself, right? Because people had, really smart, oh, I'm a doctor, or I'm this and that, but COVID comes, right? And they get laid off or fired. So where's your trade? So it's good to have a trade to fall back on. So that's at least
and a work ethic.
And a work
young people too is very important.
Absolutely.
There's a gigantic storm coming with AI, and a lot of these functions that were once safe are not safe. I got kids that are all graduating college now, and I don't really know where to
Tell them to go.
Yeah, except the
window washing. They stick these little things on the window and like, oh, that's going to wash the window for you. But I don't see a human not doing window washing for at least another for for a while. It's
Yeah.
going to take years before they can replace that.
If Tavia wants the company, absolutely. I want to keep it going so she has that option. If she doesn't want the company at that point, then I would consider selling it. He talks about selling it sooner than I'm ready. I want this to be our future.
Or just have one of our employees,
There is someone that
Some
looks like
kind
he could be part owner or maybe take it over.
Part of selling it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want this to be what this is, our retirement. This is our future.
Well, that's great. So we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
And I love your story. I think it's
Absolutely.
a beautiful
Yeah.
one, and it's full of passion and pride and success. It's been a great story to hear, really inspiring. So thank you for sharing your story. And
Thank you for having us.
yeah. So, but before we wrap things up, if our listeners are people who are looking to start off on their own business, what would you like to share with them if you were to give them a takeaway, perhaps some like advice for someone looking to follow in your footsteps? Give me some last advice that you guys would give them for doing that.
My advice would be to have the courage, believe in yourself, right? Believe that you are strong enough and good enough, and you'll be accepted by other people to do what you want to do. Go and try to do something that you love. I mean, I just see so many people going and working for these companies that they're miserable. They don't like their jobs. They don't like,
and they don't have a good poker face, and you could look at them and tell they're not happy.
Yes, we're only here for a short period of time, right? So try to enjoy your life. And by doing that, you got to find something that you like or you love and have the courage and the strength and the belief that you can go do it.
For those who
do well.
For those who are listening now and say, oh, easy for you to say, Jeff, let me say, we did not have a truck when we started this business. We did not have a leaf blower, and we did not have a ladder. We had nothing. And my mother loaned us $200 to buy $300 to buy a ladder. We rented a van. We tried to stack jobs and rent a van and have a full day of work. And that is how we slowly grew this.
Yeah.
The old-fashioned way.
If we can do it, you can do it. Absolutely.
Is this a great country or what?
Seriously.
Success story. What a success story.
That's the best kind. I love it.
We got some great clips in there, Tyson. So this will be a good one for you. All right.
Yes.
Awesome.
Well, it's been great talking to you guys and hearing about your journey. So a great, big, giant thank you to Jeff and Francesca for sharing those valuable insights.
And Tavia.
And Tavia, the story. So it's great to see how much hard work and passion and dedication that you guys put into building Reflections. So your story definitely, you guys really do have a true entrepreneurial spirit.
Absolutely.
So, and for all of you watching or listening here in the greater Portland area, and if you're in need of professional window and gutter cleaning services and pressure washing, make sure you reach out to Reflections Window and Gutter Cleaning. You can find their contact information right here on the screen.
Put your finger up right here. There you go. Perfect.
And believe me, you can trust that you're working with some great people and true, reliable experts.
Yes.
So once again, thank you, Jeff and Francesca, for being here with us on Swivl Sessions.
Thank you for having us.
You guys enjoy.
That's a wrap.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening or watching. Swivl's field service software is everything you need to run your field service business for free. Till next time, check us out at swivl.tech. That's SWIVL.tech.